Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about some of the controversy surrounding Wheelchair Rapunzel and why I think this is indicative that we can not just have one person represent an entire community, which in this case is the disabled community. So if you don't know who Wheelchair Rapunzel is, she is an influencer and her real name is Dacy. I believe she is 28 years old, or at least that's what it says online, but of course you can't always go by that. But she is a very controversial figure in the disabled community for a lot of reasons, and I'm gonna go over some of them in this video. I definitely can't go over all of them, but one of the first controversies she ever got into was that she owns a small business where she prints t-shirts with little sayings on them and stuff, and one of her t-shirts that she really liked to sell had a slogan that said "Disabled bodies matter," which is very it's very reminiscent of Black Lives Matter. And the thing is number one, Black disabled people exist, but also the way she intended it was that people that are visibly disabled are often censored on social media, but that is not comparable to the police brutality that Black Americans face. So that is a major issue, and for a while she doubled down until 2020 with the murder of George Floyd, and then she issued an apology after years of doubling down and profiting off of this slogan. Another issue was, for a long time she sold t-shirts for autism awareness that included the puzzle piece symbol, which is often associated with the organization Autism Speaks, which many autistic people argue is a hate group because of their history of controversies and not listening to actually autistic people and promoting ABA therapy, which has been harmful to many autistic people. Another big issue she's had is just a lot, but on Instagram she posted a picture of her not fully clothed and on a toilet, and she got mad when that post was removed for violating Instagram's community guidelines. And the thing is, I have nothing against her posting that image, but she made it this big thing like, oh my god, Instagram is censoring disabled people, when it's like, no, Instagram censored you because you posted a half-naked photo on the toilet. Like, it is not because you're disabled. And yes, you can argue that there are pop stars that post that kind of stuff, but if that's against Instagram's guidelines, it's against their guidelines. It's not because you're disabled. And I guess to me it's like, is that the hill you really want to die on? At least for me, I don't want to die on that hill that like, oh, I want to I wanna post a picture of me on the toilet. I do not want that. But even if I did and Instagram removed it, I don't think I would make as big of a deal about it as she has. I also want to add that since she has had a child, she has become kind of like a family vlogger of sorts. And I do want to add this because I do think family vlogging is exploitative and it is not okay. And I don't think she should be doing this. And I know the Dad Challenge podcast put on his community post he was gonna do a video on her. I'm very glad he has not seemed to do a video on her, because knowing him, he will go about this in a very ableist way and entertain ableist arguments, which is not okay, no matter how you feel about child exploitation. Ableism is ableism, and even if I do not like a specific disabled person, they still do not deserve to be subjected to ableism on a daily basis. So yeah. She often speaks over autistic people and people with intellectual disabilities that will tell her they don't agree with some of the things she says about autism and intellectual disabilities. She also made Pride merch when she has called herself an ally and has never claimed to be a part of the LGBTQ+ community. And that's not an awful thing, but I will say she's much better off promoting actual LGBTQIA+ creators than she is selling merch and profiting off of a community that she is not a part of. The most serious allegations against Wheelchair Rapunzel, and I'm gonna have to censor myself a lot, is that she is friends with somebody who allegedly RAP'd some people.
What victims? Like, what are their names? Give me their numbers.
Yeah.
But again, don't, because it has nothing to do with me, so.
Right.
Like, why would I have anything, like, you know
like, what would
saying?
you want her to say?
Yeah.
He has been accused of SA by a lot of people, and he was even arrested for this. But of course, I have to say alleged because I do not want to get sued, and it has not been proven in a court of law. But anyway, so she is friends with this guy and refuses to denounce him, and she has this guy around her child, which is its own issue, and I don't want to get into it because it's not really my business what she does with her child. But I will say, if I had a child, I would not want that person around my child. And and this is something that I don't even want to really call a controversy, because I believe it's rooted in ableism, is that a lot of people criticize her for having a child because she's disabled and she can't do a lot of the physical care tasks that it often requires. But I think this is rooted in ableism because I believe disabled people should be allowed to be parents if they choose to be. And there are many different ways that that her child can still be properly cared for, even if she doesn't do all of the physical labor. So I just want to leave that out there, that if there are people in the comments that make comments about that and say she shouldn't be allowed to be a mother because of her disability, I will have to delete those comments because they are rooted in ableism. But I think one of my biggest takeaways from Wheelchair Rapunzel is that we cannot have one influencer at the forefront of a movement. And also, I don't always know if an influencer is the best person to lead a movement. And I know the word influencer is very loaded these days, but I think at a certain point, people are more into themselves and furthering their own career as an influencer than they are really advocating for the community they claim to be advocating for. Wheelchair Rapunzel calls herself a disability advocate, but a lot of her advocacy is only about things that affect her directly and only about her, but not always about the community at large and the needs of the community. And that's not inherently bad, but I don't think you can be the face of a movement if you do that. I don't want to be the face of a movement. I don't have all the answers. I try my best to educate myself, but I don't want to claim to be this hero when I'm not. I'm just a person with a phone, and I record on my phone. But I'm not. And I do want to go over one horrific tweet I saw. I screenshotted it, so I'm gonna have to read it. I don't know if it's on my iPad. Hopefully, if it's on my phone, I'll have to edit it in. But yeah, I guess it's on my phone, so I will have to edit it in. But it is a very racist tweet about COVID, and basically, this was before COVID was like an issue here in the US, and she basically wrote like, I hear there's Chinese virus, so all of the Asian people, please stay in Asia. And obviously that is horrifically racist. And also she wrote, and I, as a disabled person, I don't want to die, so please stay over there, as if there aren't disabled people in Asia that were affected by COVID before other people were affected. Like, I think that shows she only really sees her worldview, and to her, she is the center of the universe, and if it affects her, it matters. But when it's affecting people in Asia that are disabled, she doesn't seem to care. And I'm not saying any of this to cancel her. I don't have the power to cancel anybody, but I will say that just because somebody is from a marginalized group does not necessarily mean they should represent that marginalized group. We see that with Blair White and the trans community, and how a lot of her content further harms the trans community. I think being such a visible person, being in the spotlight, has harmed the disabled community because Wheelchair Rapunzel does not educate herself. And I know that nobody knows everything, and I'm not saying anybody should, but it just seems like she's not trying to educate herself. It seems at this point that she's trolling people that criticize her, which is not cool. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.